Good morning, this is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Wednesday, the 16th of July. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right. Okay, I did a post this morning on the where we are on equities, so have a look at that. But in the short term, the week 60-minute sell signal that was brewing yesterday morning fixed and reached a possible near miss target, and we are rallying fairly strongly from that. In Q, it fixed and didn't make a target, and didn't get as low either. We actually reached the possible level top support on ES, but held support there with a small amount of positive divergence on the lower time charts. On RTY, we had a weak 60-minute buy signal fix overnight, and we've been seeing a strong rally. We had a head and shoulders breakdown with the obvious target at the time at a test of the monthly pivot at 215407. If we see a break over this right shoulder high here, then we should see a high retest, which I am hoping to see. YM still looks kind of like bull flag. This could be a bullish underthrow. So we'll see, for bull flag rather. But I mean, I would love to see a retest of this high here, because this is the negative divergence that we are missing here. It went and made the new all-time high here, but we haven't seen a retest of that, so we don't have daily negative divergence yet. DAX and STX, we've got nice looking little potential level bottoms here, setting up retests of the high, and we've got that on both of them, no current positive divergence. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. Right, first thing to say is on SPX, yesterday, the RSI 14 sell signal and the RSI 5 sell signal both fixed. We also saw a slight break below the rising support, so that is the first breakdown on this, frankly, really, really nice rising wedge. So this is a peach. This is starts the topping process. Doesn't mean that topping process is over. Doesn't mean we go straight down. But I think we are in a topping process here now. On ES, we've also got the RSI 14 sell signal fixed here. I haven't marked it up yet, but we haven't broken down from rising support yet, I don't think. But having said that, the trend line is not quite right. Let's just draw that slightly better. These things tend to move over time, which is kind of annoying. Okay, that's a perfect touch of rising support. Hasn't broken down yet. When it does break down, obviously that will be more interesting. Looking at the Qs, we've got an RSI 5 sell signal fixed, of course. We've still got a possible weak RSI 14 sell signal brewing. As with SPX, we're still on a RSI 14 hourly sell signal, and that hasn't made target yet. We've already on this wedge, which is also a very nice one. We saw a slight bearish overthrow there. We've seen a break below there. Again, I think they were in a topping process here. So we will see. Looking at Dow, we haven't retested the high yet. This has been more effective than SPX or NDX so far. The RSI 14 sell signal has now reached the possible near miss target on the hourly chart, and obviously we don't have any divergence on the daily chart yet, but if we see a high retest, we could well get some. Let's have a quick look at the whether this is a decent quality bull flag here. So that would be a resistance trend line. No. Sorry, I'm just seeing if we've got a decent support trend line here. No anchor. It wouldn't make a bad bull flag. But ideally, really, we would come down a little further towards that. So I'm just going to toss that in as a thing to leave on the chart. But this is partially what I would like to see. I would love to see a high retest. That would be very nice to see. On the 15-minute, I would say we've got a 15-minute buy signal fixed. On the Qs, nothing. On SPX, nothing, but I think we might have something on IWM, so let's have a look at that too. All right, IWM on the 15-minute chart, just about kept the divergence there. And we were reaching a decent support level, although not the main support trend line. Again, I'm wondering about upside here. I think this has been the most affected. But I was just noting in the post this morning that this is, of course, IWM is, of course, the most vulnerable to moves in interest rates and inflation. mainly interest rates because, well, inflation because of what that does to interest rates. So I'm not surprised that this has been leading the way to the downside. The big beautiful bill was not likely to be good for interest rates. The return of tariffs is likely to be good for inflation. So I would expect to see weakness here first. In terms of the daily chart, we actually had RSI 14 and RSI 5 sell signal fixed last week. They wouldn't take an awful lot more. By the time we got down below the daily middle band here and the rising support for the wedge, we'd probably be making target, or at the possible near miss target at least, on the RSI 5 sell signal. So that would be likely to make target first. DAX, we've got a nice looking setup on the hourly chart to retest the high. We've not seen, you can see where the main support is here. It's that the daily middle band at 23,883 and the 50 DMA at 23,844. Not been challenged so far, but I'm thinking we probably will see a serious challenge within a few days, couple of weeks at most. It's Nikkei is testing the daily middle band at the moment and it's holding. I'm not really. We could still see a test of this retest at 42.4K. We still do have a decent looking bull flag that's broken up there, but I am wondering, even if we were to see a very big move down, and I'm thinking that is on the cards, this could expand into a larger flag and go bam, bam, bam. So, and do a lower low. I wouldn't be astonished to see that. And actually, I'm thinking we could see something similar on IWM, i.e. this could be A, B, C. So I am wondering about that. We will see. Do I think this is a double top? Kind of looks too large to me. But I would say that if this wouldn't be a bad-looking setup to retrace all the way back to the 2020 low, and I would be considering it a not awful pattern. Although it would have been improved if we'd managed to retest this high and we'd got a slightly more credible-looking double top out of it. It's this one is quite a way below the 50%. That doesn't take it out of play as a big double top, but it just weakens it a bit. Had we retested the high here, that would have been a more credible size in my view. All right, let's have a look at DX. DX, we actually saw a break over the declining resistance yesterday, and you can see on the bigger picture chart that we have, I've got this very nice looking falling wedge from this high here at 109.88, and we've now broken up over it. I think this may well be bottoming out, and I think that theory that I was reading that that tariffs might be good for the dollar might be about to get a serious test. If so, well, potentially, I think tariffs could have a big impact. Maybe we can see this move up. Maybe this flag, even though this is very early stages of a bounce from the megaphone support, maybe this flag could actually make target. I'm still a bit skeptical, but we'll see. All right, looking at ZB. ZB, we've got a very nice looking head and shoulders, which is broken down with a target basically at a retest of this low here in about the 109.18 area. I like it. I like it a lot. We've got a 60-minute buy signal fixed. We're seeing a little bit of a rally here. Arguably, this has made target. I think I'm probably going to call it and say this reached the possible near miss target. I've been looking at it. It's not quite as high as I'd like to see it, but it's really close. I think I'm inclined to call it and disregard this buy signal on this stage. But that doesn't mean this isn't going to turn up. I have been drawing in the possible alternate trend lines here. And this would be the resistance trend line if this was a bull flag forming, or at least a falling wedge. If that was the case, bear with me a second. If that was the case, that would actually be pretty decent looking. Not ideal, but okay. Wouldn't quite fit on this one here. Really, ideally, we'd need to go a little lower. I'd be looking at a move to, say, there, but it's pretty damn close. That could be the case. I have to say, bigger picture in terms of the trends for the rest of the year, I'm not feeling good about interest rates. I'm really not. Tariffs are not good for it. Inflation's not good for it. And the reality is, if we get a negative economic impact that I'm expecting, all of the objections to, oh well, the big beautiful bill wouldn't have the impact and CBO was wrong. All of those were based that all of those were on the basis that economic growth was going to outperform. If it underperforms, then of course actually the CBO is wrong, but in the other direction, it'll be considerably worse for the deficit and overall debt than the CBO was projecting. Personally, I think that's more likely. And if the deficit gets wider and debt goes up faster, then well, that's going to put upward pressure on interest rates and downward pressure on bonds. All right, CL. CL, I'm still wondering about. Well, I'm just wondering about a test of this rising support currently in about 63.8 area, and I'm wondering whether we're going to see a breakdown from that. Keeping an open mind, we've not really seen anything definitive here, but I would say that in terms of the IHS, it's getting pretty close to failing with the fail level at 64. HO, this looks like a rising wedge which has broken down and may be topping out. RBOB, rising megaphone which is breaking down, very nice looking potential level top. There's a number of bearish patterns here. NG, we've been seeing a rally here and we've reached a potential inverted head and shoulder neckline. I was expecting to see a decent rally here. It could be that this is all we're going to see, but if we formed a right shoulder here, then this could take this considerably back higher. Bigger picture, I think there's going to be downward pressure on NG, but that doesn't mean we couldn't do a rally first up into the 4 area. GC, this isn't a good bear flag. It's not awful, but it's not good. And it's not good because it didn't reach this trend line here. I'm still wondering about it though. We're back below the monthly pivot, and I am wondering about the fact that on SI, we got up into my target area, but I would like to have a quick look at that. So bear with me a moment. So just give me a sec. Let's have a look at the target trend lines on silver. All right, first one, made it. And it's a nice trend line. And it's the main nice trend line. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a very obvious resistance area. We don't have any negative divergence on the weekly chart, but very obvious resistance. We do have an RSI 14 sell signal fix and an RSI 5 sell signal fix on the daily chart. And you can see that's a pretty nice hit too. The thing I'm saying here is that silver is actually at the big trend line resistance that I was looking at, and what I was thinking was that gold would go and make a new all-time high. We were doing that. That didn't happen. But that doesn't change the resistance here we're seeing on silver. This could be a significant short-term high on silver, and I'm wondering about that. On palladium, 60-minute sell signal reached possible near miss target. Platinum, we didn't have a sell signal. Neither of these has shown any significant weakness so far. And in terms of the double tops, they've not been improved by the action this week. Looking at HG, obviously 50% tariffs coming. Until then, I think there's probably going to be quite strong demand for copper while people stock up. After that, well, I think it's probably there's going to be strong negative pressure. We will see how that develops. All right, looking at the euro, still could be a bull flag. GBP still could be a bull flag, but the moves this week have not strengthened that. We could be looking at a larger pattern forming. And I would note that we're getting into a possible head and shoulder area on GBP, and not the best one on euro, but potentially topping there too. USD JPY, we actually did a full retest of this high here in May. We will see 60-minute sell signals fixed, looking for some reversal here. USD CAD, not really seeing an indicator here. Still got a really nice looking double top on Australian dollar. And NZ has pretty much made target on the head and shoulders. Looking at KC, this kind of looks like a bear flag, but not with decent trend lines so far. SB, possible double top here, testing the monthly pivot as resistance, break and convert that to support, and this could go considerably higher. CC, retested the low again. This looked like a bearish consolidation, I was saying, and that bearish consolidation was played out and made target. What I'm wondering is whether this may continue lower or whether this could be a nested double bottom setup, which it still could be. CT, the head and shoulder failed. Obvious next target is a retest of the high here at 69.5. Lumber, the double top that formed here a few days ago has broken down with a target in about the 632-635 area. Waiting to see how that develops. But I'm thinking my lean is towards the downside. ZW, not making any tracks to the upside so far. On corn, we made the buy signal target, got over the weekly pivot, but not gone. I am wondering about those larger moves down that I was talking about. 60-minute buy signal has reached the possible near miss target on the soy chart and not broken up from the potential level bottom setup. On soybean oil, no current divergence, but not really making any progress to the upside either. I am thinking we might be about to start another leg down on all of the grains. Live cattle, still got a potential level top forming here. Lean hogs made the head and shoulder target, and we're forming what looks like a falling megaphone, which could be a bull flag. We shall see. All right, great. Let's have a look at questions. Do I think the S&P will go up from here? Well, have a look at the post I did today. What I'm thinking is, well, honestly, I think if tariffs come back in a big way, it's possible we could be making the highs for the next 2 or 3 years here. And I'm thinking, well, I mean, it's just, I'm looking at, there aren't that many historical examples of administrations going all in on tariffs. The last one was in 1930, and that resulted in the Great Depression, the rise of Hitler, the Second World War. Now, I think this was likely to go better than that, but as we said, that's not a very high bar. We could be making a major top here. I think we could see it's not beyond the bounds possibility that we see a 5% contraction in the US economy over the next couple of years, depending on how enthusiastic Trump is about tariffs. I think there are a lot of things being attacked about the US economy, and I just don't think it's strong enough to continues growing strongly through that. I think we're going to see some contraction. If tariffs are here in a big way, and if there is trouble over it, then I am thinking that when I was talking about on the post a possible target in the 3,500 area, 3,400 to 3,500 area on SPX, I think that's a credible target. I mean, my next post is going to be looking at that and the possible topping patterns on the other indices. I think we could give back most or all, depending on the index, of the move up from 23 and some possibly on IWM, everything made since 2020. That's what I think we might be looking at here. And while I think tariffs are going to go better, I think it's going to go certainly better outside the US. And that, to be honest, because the rest of the world is probably not going to do really badly and have a big contraction, that works better for the US as well. And I don't think there's going to be a real, just a vanishing of trade. But I think it's going to cut it back quite a bit. And while it's only 23% of the US economy, it is 23% of the US economy. And it's going to be badly affected. And it might be that Trump just gives it up. We'll see. He's done it before. But I was saying in my post that I think he's got more at stake on this. And he's probably going to be more reluctant. All right, great. In that case, that's a wrap. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Everyone, take care.